stand down the education fund, but proceed with the other funds.
Chair, well, I agree with the procedure that this issue, because this issue of education fund is very critical. The issue of bursary is very critical. The issue of even list of beneficiaries that were awarded bursary, it's a serious issue. So I agree that we stand down then it, but Chair, so that it becomes lesson to others. The governor must apologize to the committee for an intent to mislead this committee. Because if the committee was not keen, and I think there is a perception by these entities to assume that senators are too busy not to notice the inconsistency. So as a lesson to the others, he must apologize and step down his documentation for an intention to misrepresent facts, to mislead the committee with an intention of an outcome that he himself knows. So, Chair, so that this committee moves in a neat manner, and I agree that this education fund, we reschedule until the inconsistencies are correct. The governor should apologize and withdraw his documentation so that we can proceed with others as per the tradition of parliament.
Okay, before the governor says something, I think the principal person who prepared these responses is one Alfred Lagat, who is the CEC for Finance and Planning. I would like you to explain to this committee about these inconsistencies and take note that the committee takes seriously the issues of responses. That's why at the beginning, we always ask the auditors and the clerk whether the responses are in the right format and substance, and that they have been processed within the required timelines. So can you explain this anomaly?
Thank you, Chair, and the committee. As the governor said, is that the document before us is really a summarized version of what we had submitted. The truth is, a lot of work went into preparing the one that we forwarded to the Senate, and upon review, we thought that since it's for the record and this will be in the record of Senate, let's have a summarized version that will really save the committee time, because when you look at what we submitted, if the governor is to read everything, most of those things are our administrative actions. So we thought, since it's also going to be used by ourselves at the county, let's give the summarized copy before the committee. But we also ensure that the Senate has this document that really we have step-by-step actions that we intend to take at the county to sort the issues that are before us. So it is a product of us being very serious about the queries and giving much details. And in our wisdom and in consultation with the OIG, we thought that really the documents being one and the same, most of the issues that are in the detailed document would arise in our discussions and would form part of the comments that the governor would make, and also some of the verbal responses that I would also make myself. But in principle, really, we don't have materially different documents. It's a summary of the former. Thank you, Chair.
You know, as a procedure in this committee, and Lagat, you have appeared before us severally, we encourage as much information as possible to be documented for our record purpose. In as much as we have the Hansard, where what you say is also very important, but the responses are going to be read verbatim before we even ask a question. So if we have a detailed response, that is even good for us. It's even good for us, so that we reduce the number of questions we are going to ask you. But if you summarize it, then you even make the meeting longer, because the questions will be many, they'll be back and forth. So I think what you had done earlier in your initial document, that is what you should just have sent. Because some of us have already read what you sent on email, and we were prepared based on what you had sent on email. And then now when we come to the meeting, we see a different document. You know, it causes confusion. So yes, you were thinking about summarizing, but us, we want more details. And that is the procedure, that whatever is submitted to us, must be the same as what has been submitted to the auditor, because the auditor is going to advise the committee based on the responses. So if the responses to the auditor are different from the responses to the committee, or the responses to the clerk, who is supposed to advise the members, is different from the responses that have been tabled, then it becomes a problem. So I think
Chair,
that one,
the last one.
yes.
I don't know. OAG, don't you find it weird that the client, you advise them to summarize? Because that is the response of CPA. Because he says you advise. And let me ask you a very simple question. In your audit report last one, you have indicated that you didn't see list of beneficiaries. So you are telling them to summarize. So if you wanted, there were list of beneficiaries of 1,000, and they gave you 200 and tell you this assembling because they want to do a conspectus of the entire process. What will be your opinion? Because you need to deny what the client is saying, because he's saying on the advice of the OAG, we did a summary. Yet, Chair, and I don't know, Chair, on a lighter note, I don't know whether there has been a ruling on this committee or any other committee that you have advised client that you have a very limited time. That is why they need to summarize any documentation. I'm not aware. Maybe the client should advise us. Maybe they have been appearing in a different. So I needed the OAG to tell us why would you advise the client to summarize, or is just misleading the committee. Thank you, through the indulgence of the chair.
Chair,
Yes.
I think it is only fair that the senator also accurately quotes the client. We have not said that the auditor advised us to summarize. We have given the explanation. That is
Governor,
not.
through
That
the
is
chair,
not.
your CEC has said we can bring the answer. You know the goodness, Chair. He has in fact said.
Okay, let me,
Unless you want to withdraw.
That is not.
let us listen to the governor, to the...
No,
to the-
Chair, but the governor
then-
should guide his officers very well, because the CPA has said he summarized in his own thing based on the advice and the time of the committee. Unless we can bring the answer, Governor, so that you can go through and see what the CPA has just said.
Okay, Senator Fernandi, just hold on. Let the governor make his explanation, and so that we can make further direction and proceed.
Chair, I think for us, as indicated by my CEC and also as I had indicated, there is in our assessment, there is no difference, material difference on the two documents. But we appreciate what you have said in terms of the guidance that, the
Point of order,
details.
Chair. Point of order.
Let him
Just your indulgence. The chair has ruled that there is inconsistency in the issue of response to education fund. Then the governor is insisting that there is no material difference. So is it the opinion of the governor that we proceed, because he is challenging your ruling, because you have said and we have agreed there is inconsistency, but he is still insisting there is no inconsistency?
In fact, Chair, we are all in, our as a client before you, we are in agreement with your ruling. In fact, if had we all agreed on your ruling, we would have just stepped down that document and proceeded to the next one. It's the senator who is contesting. We have just given our explanation, and we have said that we note the position taken by, if we were to print and provide that the responses as per our email, you would then notice that there is very little difference. But we agree with your ruling, and we are ready to proceed as you have guided, and that guidance in terms of remaining and giving as much details as possible is well taken, Chair. But really, we just want to leave it at that because you've guided.